Chelsea Grove with Paycom to address the council and answer any questions about the payroll. There's been some questions brought up. So Chelsea, I will let you address them here.
Thank you. First, thank you all so much for having me this evening. I know that all of you have a very busy schedule and even keeping this with all of your lovely people here. Just a little background on me first and how I came to Paycom. I'm actually from a very small town in Arkansas, actually smaller than this one. So whenever I get to come to towns like this, I feel like I'm coming home. I graduated from the U of A with a degree in communications with an emphasis in PR and marketing, and eventually found my way here in Oklahoma City. My husband's the marketing director for Coca-Cola in Oklahoma City, and then I came to work for Paycom. Part of what I do with Paycom is I really find areas that I can help businesses, and that's what I love about my job. I have the opportunity to work with many different cities and different companies, even here in the area. I work with your hospital. Cordell Memorial is a client of mine. Elk City, who just opened their new location here in their Ace Hardware store down the street. I work, like I said, with other municipalities and things of that sort, and I have the ability to come in and I have that understanding, especially coming from a small town, in knowing that you guys are operating on a budget and understanding that you have a mindset and a different way in place, and really finding ways to emphasize on that and to keep everything budget neutral and hopefully creating a cash positive project. Now, when I first came into Cordell, I sat down with JC and had the opportunity to discuss with him ways that I really thought the city could save some money. And that's really what I do when I come in with any of my businesses, because let's face it, anytime I sit down with a company, I want to put before them a cash positive, if not a budget neutral project. And that's always going to be the case with the city. One of the first places that I saw a need for you guys was with time and attendance. Just by implementing a time and attendance system alone with you all, you guys have the ability to cut off about $40,000 in overpayment right now with your employees. Now, that's not to say that your employees are right now taking advantage of the system, but let's just say with the paper timesheet. I know that if I get into my office at 8:02, I'm going to put 8 o'clock. If I leave for lunch at 11:59, I'm going to put noon. If I get back from lunch at 1:02, I'm going to put 1, and so on and so forth. These aren't bad things by any means that your employees are doing. It's not. But at the end of the day, when you add up all those minutes, they do cost money. And that's money that could be going towards other things that you guys have planned and have in place and want to happen here. That was one of the main areas. The other thing that I saw that I could really help with was compliance. As you all know, the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare has come up in the last year. And unfortunately, all businesses have to comply. This year, of course, it was just companies that had over 100 employees. Next year, it's going to be companies over 50. So that hits the city of Cordell. So at that point, you guys would have to be compliant. That was another area that I saw that we could really impact what you guys are doing. We have the ability to take on that 1094 and 1095 reporting for you, and those things that are really going to build up in cost by not being compliant. As a matter of fact, last week, the cap originally was only $1.5 million that the government could penalize you for not being ACA compliant. Well, as of last week, that new cap is now $3 million. And that is how they are funding their marketplace, is by finding hardworking companies that are not compliant. And so that was another big issue with me, especially when I come into my cities. You don't have the time or the commodity to be able to sit there and risk funds. That you already have a budget at the beginning of the year, and those are things that you've set in place, and that is money that's already been allocated. So just by misfiling one form, that's $250 a day. And that was another area that I saw a great cost justification for you guys. I know that you had been with a CPA for years, but I know that in meeting with JC, he had expressed the need to kind of cut down on some of that communication. And hiring new employees and having to send things off and things like that. They were wanting to bring some of that responsibility back into the city office. Not only that, but put some of the responsibility back out on the employees. And Paycom really enables the employee to do that. And we do that in several ways with the employee self-service. If there's a change of address, if an employee needs to make a change on a form, if they need to change their direct deposit information, as simple as printing out a pay stub, or if they've lost their end of year information and need to reprint it out. Paycom enables the employee to do that, and it's very simple. And so that would allow a lot of this miscommunication and error to kind of come to an end. And so that was a lot of where I came from with that decision. Now, a little bit more about Paycom. We were founded in 1998 right here in Oklahoma by Chad Richardson. He's our CEO and is still our CEO today. He grew that from a one-man band all the way up to what we are now. We are a nationwide company. We went public last year. Our corporate offices are still right here in Oklahoma City. We're not moving anywhere. We love being here. We love being in Oklahoma, and we love Oklahomans. And because of that, we're of course very stingy with our Oklahoma businesses. Of course, we want everyone on Paycom. Now, that's not to say that everyone's a good fit for Paycom. And I hope you know that. Whenever I sit down with anyone, I want to make sure we're a great fit for each other. And it became pretty apparent after sitting down with JC and really figuring out what the goals were for the city, what the page you guys were really on, and where you were headed, that we really could be a beneficial relationship for each other. I understand that there was that there have been a couple of hiccups here and there with a few things with everyone, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't know of any transition that ever goes perfect. We're not perfect as humans. My meanwhile papa taught me that lesson young and growing up, and I still stick to it. But we do pride ourselves in getting it right, in making sure that our businesses are well taken care of. And that comes from our one-to-one customer service model. I was out here with Cherie on our first payroll. We really enjoy taking care of our customers. When you call in, you're never put through to a press 1 for English, press 2 for sales, press 3. There's always a live person that answers the phone. And there's always a person there to answer those questions. And so we really pride ourselves in the ability to have that customer service, and that's, again, something that comes from being Oklahoma bred, and that's not going to change. In the packet that I put together for you all, it just gives a brief overview of Paycom, a lot of our certifications and accreditations. We are one of the fastest growing companies in the nation, and have been recognized by several great awards. There's also a timeline of everything that's happened with Paycom from 1998 until now. We started at payroll, and we have developed into a full HRIS solution, meaning that we are there for your employee from the day that they're hired, from the day that they're fired, retired, or we don't like to say that fire word. We hope they retire with you guys. And then the last page, of course, is just our security standards. Paycom takes a lot of pride in our security. I know a lot of times people get a little squeamish when they hear that everything's going online, because you hear of all these incidents that happen with clouds and different things, and people data being compromised and things of that sort. Well, with Paycom, we are ISO 9001 and ISO 27001 certified. Most of your banks only carry one of those certifications. We carry both. And the reason is because we value our clients and we value their privacy. And we want to make sure that they're taken care of. And so that in a nutshell is Paycom. I understand that maybe some of you have some questions, and I would love to answer those at this time if you have any.
Do we have any questions from the council of Paycom? I know we've had a few goes to JC. Do you have any, JC?
No. When we started changing over to Paycom, we are not on a long-term contract with your company. Is that correct?
Correct. Everything with Paycom and something that will never change. Unlike a lot of our similar providers, we are agreement-based. You never sign a contract with us, and that's because we want to keep earning your business day after day. We're only as good as your last payroll. So if at any time you decide to leave, you are free to go. We hope you don't, but if you make that decision, it's not a problem.
The schedule that the employees are receiving their paycheck, is that going to change? They'll still receive it like on a Friday or whatever they were? I don't know when they got paid.
Nothing changes.
Okay, that sounds great.
The only thing I heard mentioned about from some of the employees is the difference they seem to feel there is in the tax bracket. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yes, with Paycom, anytime that there has been a change, anytime the IRS releases new tax information, it's automatically updated in our system. I'm not saying, and I'm not by any way, means, form, or fashion trying to put down your last provider by any stretch.
Sure.
But a lot of times when we bring over companies, they're not on the most recent tax table. And in looking at what we found thus far, it looks like you weren't on the most accurate tax table than when
That
we bring
pretty
you
much
over.
explains it then.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then I noticed you said HR, so do you represent our employees? I mean, is that where they can call you with questions for HR, or is that
No.
still done inside the city office, or how does that work?
We provide an HR solution, meaning that we give the city tools that they need on the HR side. So, for example, even that ACA with benefits administration and things of that sort. If an employee was to select their benefits, they're going to feed through to the system that help with that reporting. We by no means take on like an employee leasing. We are not their HR person. We're just simply giving you the tools to use.
Chelsea, we thank you very much for your presentation.
Well, I
and
thank you all very much for having me. I appreciate it.
if there are no other questions,
Thank you for the gifts.
okay.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.